रिकॉर्डिंग कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। हेलो फ्रेंड्स, तो आज हम लोग कुछ क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करेंगे इन अर्थमेटिक व्हिच might be very useful for our upcoming examinations like TestNet and CMAT. Okay, so here is a question number 1. A sum takes 2 years to become 40% more under simple interest. So we can see in 2 years the sum is increased by 40%. So we can say the interest is 20% per annum because in 2 years the interest is 40%. If this was lent at the same rate of interest for the same time under the compound interest. Now, so the rate they are saying the same and interest is compound. So compound interest for 2 years. So the first year 20%, then 20. This is called the successive change. By using this formula, you can calculate the total interest in compound interest for 2 years. Okay. If you need to calculate for 3 years, you can further do this, but generally this is not suggested because this becomes more difficult and more calculative. It will become 72.8. This is for 3 years. Okay. Let's move on to next question. A certain sum becomes twice of itself in exactly 5 years at R% per annum simple interest. So in order to double the sum, the interest must be equals to per principal or should be 100% and it's in 5 years. So the rate becomes again 20%. In which year does this amount to twice itself under R% compound? Yes. So in compound interest, if we look in 5 years, in the time of 4 years, amount become close to 207%. Okay. Okay. So, but it is the normal, you can say, expectation from CI. So we take it as it takes 4 years. Although in this question, in which year? So it will be the 4th year. But in general, it is considered in CI at 20%, it takes 4 years to amounts to become doubles of itself. Okay. The actual answer should be close to 18.2%, or sorry, close to 19% for 4 years. But yes, 20 is generally considered as the correct option. So need not to worry. This is something you should keep it in mind. Need not to calculate. Okay. In how many years will sum of 1875 amounts to this at 8% CI? Okay. So do not go for the formula kind of thing. Just calculate the interest, which is amount minus principal. Now the value is 312. This is the principal, 1875, and this is the interest, 312. We can see this clearly that this interest is less than 20%, but more than 10%. So only possible option is 2 years, because in 3 years interest should be more than 24%. And in 1 year interest should be 8% only. And our answer is between 10 and 20%. So correct answer should be 2 years only. So it is very important to look at the question carefully and do not rush to solve the question. Just try to understand the question. That is very much helpful. Okay, next question. The interest on sum under compound interest when interest is compounded annually for the 6th year and the 7th year. So this is the interest for the 6th year and this is the interest for the 7th year. Okay, we need to find out the rate of interest. Okay, so what happens, we know in compound interest, whatever the amount like principal plus interest, you have to pay the interest on that amount. For example, let's see, at the end of 5 years, the principal is P. Okay, at the end of 6 years, the principal becomes 1256 plus P, because this is the interest, and interest will be added, compounded into the principal to make the principal for next year. So now this is the principal for year 7th, and for year 7th we know on this principal interest should be 1256, and but the total interest is 1413. So 157 rupees, which should be the interest of this 1256. Is that clear? Our answer should be close to, clearly we can see 10% is 125 and 12% should be 150. So answer should be close to 12, and we have option is 10%, 15%. This is 7.5%, and this is 12.5%. It's a 12 whole 1 by 2. So answer should be 12.5%. The approximation play a very important role while solving the questions. Need not to get the actual value. If you look at the options, you'll find the answer easily. Okay, move on to next question. The person sold 2 shirts each for rupees 880. On one he gained 10% and other he lost 20%. What is the overall profit or loss percentage? Okay, so the one thing clearly we can see, we can do two things. Like one, we can calculate, like if selling on 880 and profit is 10%, we can say the CP1 or becomes 800 rupees, and we can calculate the CP2 of the second article, which has sold at a loss of 20% at rupees 880. CP becomes 1100. Okay, you can use a formula as P equals to CP 100 plus, or you can do like 880 rupees is the sales price at the loss of 20%. So this should be 80%, and we need the CP. Okay, so which should be 100%. You can calculate like this as also, or you can use the formula to find this CP. Okay, so now the total CP we can know, calculate here is 1900, and we know that total SP is 880 into 2, which is 1760. Now we can calculate the loss. Okay, now look at the other way as well. We can see the sales price of 2 articles is same, one at a gain of 10%, another is a loss of 20%. So the loss amount is much higher than the profit, so it should be, there should be a loss. Okay, so if we look at the loss, okay, we have two options. One is 5.5%, another is 7.36%. So it is better that we should go for this solution. Okay, so here we can say the loss amount is 140 out of 1900 into 100. We can see clearly this should be 7%. It should be more than 7%. So correct answer is 7.36% loss. Okay, but if we did not have the options too close, then we can do it without solving, but options are comparatively closer. So it is better to calculate here. Okay, if sum was invested under CI, interest in being compounded annually, it fetches rupees 14,400 as interest in the second year, and this is the interest into the third year. So very simple, as I told you earlier, in second year this is the interest. So in third year interest should be 14400 plus let's find out the difference between this and this. So and this should be 2880. Okay, so this is the interest on the amount, or you can say the principal at the end of 1 year, which has the same interest. This extra interest must have been earned from this amount of money. So we can calculate the percentage. It is 2880 divided by 14400 multiplied by 100, which is 20%. Okay, you can also do one thing. You can take this as amount and this take as a principal, and time is 1 year. Like you can say 17280 equals to P, which is 14400 1 plus R upon 100 raised by 1, because duration is 1 year. Now you can solve this and find the value of R, which is 20%. So this is what the beauty of compound interest. You can take anything as a principal or amount, whether it's interest or actually amount. Okay, let's move on to next one. A sum was rupees 10,000 more. If a sum was rupees 10,000 more, it would have fetched 4,000 extra as simple interest. Okay, so in general, we solve this question by taking the sum as rupees X. But what I say is, extra interest you are earning only because of this extra principal, because rate of interest is same and the time is also same. So this extra interest of rupees 4,000 must be earned on principal or certain rate, and the duration is same, which is 2 years. So you can find the value of R here is 20%. Okay. So here most of the questions having answer is 20%. Okay. It's a good question. The difference between the compound interest on a certain sum for second year and the third year at 5% per annum is rupees 42. Okay. So let's see the interest. Let's see the difference between SI2 and CI2 is X. Then difference between CI3 and SI3 should be X plus 42. The difference between compound, okay, sorry, I did a little bit overdone. So here it does not need it. So it is basically CI3 minus CI2 equals to 42. Okay. So as we have earlier solved, so this 42 must be the interest of this CI2, because this is what the difference comes. Okay, this is where difference comes, because at the end of 1 year, the principal is P, on which we earn interest, which is CI2. But at the end of year 2, the principal becomes principal plus CI2. So the extra interest or difference is comes only because of this CI2. So now we can do this. So we can calculate CI2, 5% of CI2 is equals to 42. So the interest of second year will be 5% of this. So we will solve this and it becomes 840 rupees. Okay. So if this is the interest of second year, so the interest of first year should be 800, because this should be the 5% more than this. And this is again the 5% of the principal. So the principal should be 16,000. Okay. So CI2 is 840. You can do simply like this, like 840 is 105%. And CI1 should be 100%, because whatever the CI1, CI2 should be the 5% more than that. So here you can find out the value of CI1, which is 800, and CI1 is a 5% of principal, so you can find out the value of principal as well. Let's see one more question. The compound interest and simple interest of certain sum for 2 years is 1230 and 1200. So SI is 1200 and the CI is 1230. Okay. We know that SI is same for each year. So simple interest for first year should be 600 and for second year should also be 600 SI. CI for first year should be 600, which is same because the principal will be earned only on the principal. In the next year, this should be 600 plus 13. This 600 comes from this principal P, and this balance 30 must have come from this 600. So we can say clearly that R is 5%. Okay. So if R is 5% and interest of 1 year is 600, we can say clearly the principal is 12,000. Is that clear? So here the important point is simple interest is same for every year. Compound interest on the principal should also be same, which is 600 for first year, 600 for second year. The extra interest we earn only because of the interest of previous years. Okay, let's move on to next question. The sum of money becomes 10 times of itself at simple interest if the time period in years is numerically equal to the rate of interest. So generally what kind of error people done here, that the interest students makes interest 10 times. So the if amount sum of money becomes 10 times, so if the principal is x, interest must be 9x, not 10x. Okay, rate is r, time is also r because it's given, they are numerically equal. So we can see that r square is 900 or r is 30%. It's very easy question. Okay. The sum of money becomes 4 times of itself in 8 years at compound interest. In 8 years, the sum of money becomes 4 times. Here are the things that are important. If it took 8 years to become 4 times, it must have took 4 years to become 2 times. Now, this is the important thing. Okay. In CI, it took always equal amount of time to double them. Okay. So now if we want to make it 16 times, so in 8 years, it becomes 4 times. In another 4 years, means in 12 years, it becomes double of this again, which is 8 times of itself. And in next 4 years, means in 16 years, it becomes 16 times of itself. So in CI, it doubles at equal it doubles at equal interval of time always. Okay, so it will take 16 years. Okay, so here I try to cover the basic types of questions which we can see in our examination on SI and CI. In the next video, we'll discuss some other topic. Thank you very much for joining me. Please like, share, and comment. If you need any other help me, please contact us. And thank you very much.